Welcome back, friends. We are in lesson number 50. In the last two lessons, we have seen how we use the next costume, switch costume, or next backdrop, switch backdrop. And this allows us to change the costume or the backdrop as the program runs. Now, a question that often comes up is that, let's say I have a lot of backdrops or a lot of costumes, and I do not want the next costume to go and touch a particular costume, right? So I maybe have, let's say 10 costumes. I wanted to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then go back to 1, right? So how do I do that? Now, a lot of students end up writing a lot of switch costumes in this situation, but turns out that we can actually use next costume, but use this thing called costume or backdrop number or name to, kind of do what we want to do, right? So let me take an example here to, tell you what I'm trying to say here. So I've chosen this particular sprite. It's called Anina Dance. And the reason I chose this is because it's got lots and lots of costumes, right? So in fact, she's got like, I guess 13 costumes, right? Now, right now I've written a code which basically every 1 second she's changing costume, and now you can see that it's working on, right? Now, before I move forward, let me introduce you this thing called the costume number or name, right? So if I tick this thing, it's in the look section. For Anina I've chosen. So if I go and choose this costume number or name, you will notice you will start getting a number here, right? Now notice the costume is changing all the time, right? And hence the number is also changing. So it goes from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 until 13, and then it comes back to 1, right? Now, what is this costume number? Well, notice that on all the costumes there's a number over here. This is what is called the costume number, right? So it's Scratch is telling you which particular costume it's using right now. I can also choose to see its costume. Instead of costume number, I can say costume name, and in that case it will okay, I think I have to just stop this once and say costume name. So I also get costume name here, right? Now costume name refers to what we are seeing here, right? So or basically here or here, right? So I can basically see both of these, but it turns out that number is actually a little bit more useful. So what I will do is that I'll stop this program. I will hide this and let the costume number be there. Now let's say I want the costume numbers, this next costume to go only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I want it to come back to say 1, right? So what can I do? Well, I can make use of this and an if statement, right? If statement is like a gate. We'll talk about this in a later video, but basically I can say if, right? So let's say I keep doing next costume. Now I'll say if, let's say I put an operator, if costume number is, if let's say costume number, so I can drag this thing and I can make this costume drop down to costume number, right? So let's say if I'll say if costume number is equal to say 6, then go back to the first costume, which is to say the switch costume to Anina Stance, right? Because that's the first costume. So now I can use switch costume to say Anina Stance, right? So now what will happen is that you'll see that costume number will become 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The moment it becomes 6, it will become 1 again, right? So it will effectively become 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And notice this, we should see this happening 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then again it will come back to 1, right? And you can actually extend this in many ways. You can skip, for example, you could have chosen to skip, let's say, costume number 6 and go to costume number 7 directly, and so on. But this is the idea, that you can use costume number to identify which particular costume the sprite is in. The same exact idea applies to backdrops. That's why I'll not show you an example, but you can build it up yourself, using the same concept, which is the backdrop number or backdrop name, right? So I hope this is useful, and you can utilize this to keep your code compact and concise, let's say. Thank you so much. Bye bye.